broad theme of the conclave is realizing the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. I think I've said this before, Atmanirbhar Bharat is not an isolationist policy. It's not isolationism. But it is a resilient interdependence, capable of meeting domestic needs and also while integrating with global value chains. So global value chains, of course, today face a kind of challenge in itself. The value chains, in the sense, are themselves going through a disruptive phase. But where we are talking about resilient interdependence, we are also sure that we keep that integrating with global value chains alive. So it envisions an India that designs, produces, and innovates for itself and for the world. So an economy which will be rooted in self-confidence, powered by enterprise, and also guided by compassion. So it is the coming together of these things, the economic strength, the technological capability, and also the social empowerment and environmental responsibility, all aligned with the larger goal of Vikasit Bharat 2047. But I see 5 broad dimensions of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So it's a expansive kind of a landscape that we imagine when we're talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. But 5 milestones or 5 pegs can be placed so that it is laid on strong footing. Economic self-reliance is the first I would place. So you need to have Atmanirbharta in your economic affairs. Social self-reliance, Samajik Atmanirbharta. Technological self-reliance, strategic self-reliance, and finally, environmental, but yet mix of energy, sufficiency, and so on. So environment not just in the cause of green, but also self-sufficiency in those very critical essentials for growth. So it will be on these 5 pillars that I would be placing my narrative to say what is it that we are thinking in terms of when we are talking of Atmanirbhar Bharat and also reaching Vikasit Bharat by 2047, giving a picture under each of what work has already happened. The call for 2047 Vikasit Bharat may have been just a few years old, but the work towards achieving Vikasit Bharat through an Atmanirbhar route had commenced even from 2014. So even as I lay these 5 pillars before you and talk about Atmanirbharta in those areas, I'll equally place before you what foundational work has happened in order that what we need to do for the next 20 years is going to be built on those foundational work. So when I talk of economic Atmanirbharta, it means the nation's ability to generate its own prosperity. And that too through diversified production, internal value chains and value chain creations, and sustainable wealth creation. So India is a vast and uniquely diverse nation. There is no single model before us for us to copy or to replicate. And therefore, what we are going to do is essentially build on those lived-in experiences and also the models which will be adaptable for India's own futuristic growth. So it should be shaped by our own realities. And when I therefore say of economic Atmanirbharta, it will definitely mean food security. It will definitely mean energy security, which will also be a part of what I'm finally talking on, environment-related issues. giving full steam and full energy for MSMEs because they contribute more than 40% of our economic, let's say, the export, also the contribution to GDP through various sectors in which MSMEs are present. And also the labor-intensive and traditional strength-carrying textiles and unique for India, underwhelming exploitation which has happened, the area which gives immense potential for employment, and an area which should have been naturally our strength, tourism. So I will look at these broad-based progress in these areas, achieving across these sectors, and here blending traditional sectors, modern technology, and innovation-based work. So there is definitely too many variables coming into this calculation for economic Atmanirbharta, but that's the beauty of it, and that's where the Samajik Atmanirbharta, which is also one of the pillars about which I will talk, have a overlap. So in all this, and since it's a gathering of SBI's invited guests, the first thing I would emphasize on is financial inclusion. The more number of people who are brought to the formal financial inclusion process, and the more number of people who are going to benefit in their economic activity through banking extensions, the economy is going to be that much more robust. So for that, we need a robust banking and financial ecosystem. That will be my second emphasis. And the third, above all, which exclusively comes to the state government's domain and the central government's domain, is fiscal prudence. So economic Atmanirbharta will be achieved only when we keep all these factors in our mind. So what efforts have gone? Since I started by saying from 2014 itself, there have been a lot of attempts to do the foundational work for the achievement of Vikasit Bharat. You might have heard these statistics before, but I'm just giving you the nuggets. It tells you where consistency in policy, stability in governance, and pursuing every particular money that is going down to the last post, welfare or infrastructure creating, you are looking at taking the money allocated in the budget to the last point. So infrastructure creation has been our major focus in order that our self-reliance really stands on proper footing. So your economic self-reliance is not going to be realizable without adequate and also proper infrastructure. So look at what has happened in the last decade. The capital expenditure allocation has increased nearly 5 times, where it was closer to 2013-14. It was actually at 2.30 lakh crores. And where is it today? 11.21 lakh crores. So that is the proverbial putting the money where the mouth is. We've actually shown it in the last 10 years. And I closely monitor how much actually gets spent much before my RE numbers are fixed. So it is with that seriousness that allocation is followed till the last post where it has to reach. So national highways therefore grew by 60%, and where it was 11.6 kilometers per day in 2014, it has reached 34 kilometers per day in laying of these national highways. So is the metro rail connectivity. 23 cities in India now have metro. Some of them complete and up and running, a few where the work is still on. So from about 250 kilometers, which was in 2014, today India has 1,000 kilometers of metro lines in operation. So if you look at then port capacity, it doubled to 2,762 MMTPAs. Overall vessel turnaround time, which is very important in terms of trade facilitation, trade facilitation has improved from 93 hours to 49 hours now. So we have undertaken countless path-breaking ease of doing business reforms since 2014. I don't need to remind this August gathering that 1,500 archaic laws have been removed, 45,000 compliances have also been removed. The goods and services tax reforms, new generation GST, is something about which we've spoken severally in the last couple of weeks, essentially focusing on rate reduction, you would think, but I would think rate reduction, yes, but process simplification, classification clarity are also part of this GST next generation reforms. I'm here on the invitation of SBI, so it will be only very proper to say banks have helped in economic Atmanirbharta by aiding financial inclusion and credit creation. So a big credit to our Indian banks. Today we have 56 crore Jan Dhan accounts. So financial inclusion actually getting executed through the banks in the ground. 52 Mudra loan accounts Yojana, 52 lakh I think, and 70 lakh PM Swanidhi loans, creating a large pool of young entrepreneurs at the local level, tier 3, tier 2 level, and they belong particularly to marginalized groups. So social inclusion, compassion, making sure that everybody participates are reflected in these sort of numbers that you see. These schemes have actually democratized finance and brought economic independence at the grassroots level. Much is spoken about the PLI scheme. I'll just give one pointer. PLI schemes have witnessed exports surpassing 5.31 lakh crores, which is around 61.76 billion US dollars. Would we have imagined PLI schemes, which were launched sometime in the middle of this tenure, PM Modi's third tenure, in the middle of these 15, 12 years, have already yielded positive results, and 12 lakh direct and indirect employment has been generated because of that. So if this much can be said about economic Atmanirbharta, the social Atmanirbharta is the one which I would like to just give you a few pointers to say. That's my second pillar. I said it has to be laid on the foundation of 4 or 5. This is my second. Social self-reliance, like Antyodaya, actually has empowered people who actually individually on their own couldn't have made any difference in getting some more dignity and security into their life and bringing in opportunity. But we need to change from patronage-based support to irreversible empowerment and independence. I think this line is one fundamental reason why we were able to lift out of multi-dimensional poverty such a large number of people. And that couldn't have been realized without the approach of empower people and not really patronize them. So that has actually brought the difference. I would actually say our goal must be a society and people that stand on their own feet, confident, caring, and united. Self-belief and collective strength must replace dependence and helplessness. So what are our efforts towards achieving social self-reliance? The compare and contrast or understand where the foundational work has already happened. In the last 11 years, PM Prime Minister Modi led NDA government has launched efficiently several welfare schemes, and some of which I would like to not just highlight but also talk about the collateral that it has given. 4 crore people have got PM Awas Yojana, data something which all of you all know about. 15 crore plus people have got tap water connections. 12 crore toilets have been built. 10 crore LPG gas cylinders have been given for those who get the subsidy as well. 81 crore people have got free ration. But if this is one set of data, more important, and that which appeals to me a lot, is the digital public infrastructure enabled direct benefit transfers. And direct benefit transfers may mean immensely a lot for the person who receives money or the welfare, whatever allowance, directly into his account. It's a brilliant idea for the person because he doesn't lose out on, being taken away for middlemen. But as a country, what have we got out of it? A total of 47 lakh crores have been passed on to people through DBT since 2014. Little by little, more schemes got added. So till today, cumulatively, all of them put together, 47 lakh crores have been passed on through DBT. And how much have we saved as a country by using DBT method of passing money to the people who need to get it? 4.31 lakh crores have been saved for the government. So using technology to benefit and simultaneously having the financial inclusion program happening, so individuals get their bank account verified, KYC tested, and through the Aadhaar platform, when you're sending the money, you actually send it fully and without any pilferages to the person who needs to get it. But more importantly, government has also saved the money. After all, that money can again go back through various other ways to the people. So when I said, because of these methods, you were able to get many people out of multidimensional poverty. 25 crore is the number of people who have come out of poverty, multidimensional poverty, and that is a very big number, which is normally spoken when you go for your World Bank meet or IMF. Countries do approach you and say, remarkable achievement, how did you do it? And they do talk about it to see if there is anything that they can learn from our experience. And I would think the way in which India demarcated 112 districts as aspirational districts, and in them focused every scheme of the government to be reaching the public and monitoring it through different platforms, and PM himself once in a month monitoring the progress through his Pragati program, where he interacts with the district collectors directly. You were able to achieve these goals. So I think it is important. So are we just giving all these free ration and getting houses built and only that much? Are we not doing much in education? Yes, we are doing a lot more on education as well. Universities grew from 760 in 2014-15 to 1,340 in 2025. So if you're looking at Vikasit Bharat, without building these institutions, you're not going to be having that kind of an access to good education. Similarly, colleges. In 2014-15, you had 38,500 colleges. 38,500. In 2025, there are 52,000 colleges established. So education is receiving its due attention, which has to be given. So does it stop at that? 7 new IITs have been built in this last 10 years. 6,500 more seats have also been added up. 8 new Indian Institute of Managements have been built. And today you have a total of 21 of them. And 16 new aims have been set up all over the country. So the institutions, building them up, bringing the faculty, adding new seats, giving access to higher education are all part of a good educational framework. Similarly, the healthcare system is something on which I'd like to place emphasis. 55 crore individuals have been included under PM Jan Arogya Yojana, Ayushman Bharat that we popularly refer to, which means 12 crore or a bit more families have benefited because of this Jan Arogya Yojana. 17,000 Jan Ayush Aushadhi Kendras have been set up, which give affordable medicines because our generic medicines are being given. They are bringing down cost by 60% in total for every family. So now I move on to technological self-reliance. Design, develop, and deploy technology without external vulnerability. That's the Atmanirbharta that we are looking for in technology, from ideas also till execution. So indigenous R&D, ability to convert knowledge into national capabilities, and intellectual sovereignty are very important even as we work in these fields. And I would think technological Atmanirbharta is not only about hardware or manufacturing, but it's also about data sovereignty, digital trust, leadership in emerging frontiers such as AI, quantum tech, space, and biotechnology. So it is this direction that we want to take, and what is our effort there? Our government has used technology for inclusive development, as I gave you examples earlier, ease of living, and also for technology-led growth. There are today 116 crore mobile subscribers in India. 116 crore. Cost of data, which is very important for democratizing connections. Cost of data has come down to 10 rupees per GB from 300 rupees per GB, which was in 2014. So this has reduced the digital divide. I remember a couple of years ago, everyone, particularly during COVID, we were periodically reminded, and rightly so, saying it's all right, you're providing DD to give you education, or you're sending digital kits. Will it reach our rural areas? Will it reach the poorer sections? So nearly 200 special programs were created under Doordarshan. So they can go to the classroom level, teach them. Doordarshan can be seen at home. So classes happen through even Doordarshan. So digital divide, if this is the number that we are talking about, and if this is the cost of data per GB, which is called the cheapest in the world. And as a result, the divide is getting bridged and bridged literally to the last household. We have opened up frontier sectors for private participation, for participation by startups. Drone and space are two classical examples. And India's DPI is unparalleled, of course. I don't need to elaborate. The PLI scheme for the large-scale electronics manufacturing has actually made out India to be completely transformed into a net exporter of mobile phones from being a net importer. The AI Action Summit, which was held in February 2025, India and France co-chaired the session to promote ethical use of AI, which is equally important. As much as AI's development, equally parallelly we should take care of ethical use of AI and the development of AI systems that are human-centric, safe, and trustworthy. So earlier in the week, I'm sure most of you will know, Honorable PM launched 1 lakh crore research development fund for innovation R&D schemes, so that the private sector can also benefit from it. The last but one is the strategic self-reliance. We have very clearly stood out in making sure that the autonomy of decision-making in matters which are important for national interest and for sovereignty are kept intact. I think this will get strengthened more with food security, energy, minerals, and defense needs also becoming self-sufficient. So our diplomacy also extends where we can maintain that freedom. And in order that that area works well, I think we have played a very significant role in international affairs. India also is emerging as a Vishwa Mitra that builds bridges with countries. So One area in which I think I notice a big difference is indigenous defense production and exports, which have improved substantially. Defense production is now at 1.51 lakh crores. Defense exports have jumped 34 times since 2014 and now records 23,600 crores in terms of earnings from exports. So there is so much more to speak on the first responder role that India plays, whether in the island nations or in our immediate neighborhood. And the last thing that I would like to emphasize on is the energy security. It's a very important area. We need to have a harmony between growth and nature. Independence from fragile global energy and resource systems is something which any country would want, and India should certainly have it given our growth aspirations. So what have we done on that? Diversifying clean energy and its sources to reduce carbon emissions. Quite a lot of effort is going on. The International Solar Alliance is something which has been received very well by our friendly nations. Many of them have joined. And it's important to notice here that the nationally determined contribution target of 40% of installed capacity from non-fossil fuel sources in November 21 itself was achieved, 40% target. A full 9 years ahead of 2030 target, and this was completely self-funded. Similarly, non-fossil fuel sources, renewable energy, hydro, nuclear, at about 256 gigawatt, over 51% of the total installed power capacity has also been achieved. India is recognized as the fourth globally biggest in overall renewable energy capacity. Mission Life is something which we are actively promoting so that individuals also contribute towards global awareness. India's green cover has actually grown, and today there is a net increase of 16,630 square kilometers in forest cover. I'll conclude by saying these are very important for us to recognize, and this road to Atmanirbhar Bharat is one of courage, cooperation, and constant adaptation. India must act together. Where they said slow and steady would win it, I would say mindfulness and steadiness would improve, because we have to constantly be mindful of the route that we are taking, the method that we are adopting, and the way in which we are implementing and progress in that direction. But of course, we have global headwinds. Global institutions are fading, so there is no one or a few institutions which can govern or regulate or guide globally on the right way to go forward. Capital movements are becoming speculative. The chairman in his address spoke about weaponizing global commons or weaponizing global instruments which are important for growth. Volatility and uncertainty are everyday language. So with these, you know what kind of headwinds we will be facing, whether it is in terms of currency, exchange rate, or inflation, globally driven inflation, and so on. The other challenges which I will just flag but not get into details are skills and productivity gap, particularly with upskilling requirements which are coming in because of AI, innovation in ecosystem. Deep collaboration is required between academia, industry, and government at every level, the central government level, state government level, and also the local body level, and it is required for both manufacturing and also for services. Access to finance is absolutely critical. banks have to continue to play that role and make sure that we deepen and widen credit flow. A system-driven, transparent lending process is essential. We have to learn from the ghosts of the past and not be constrained by them or not be fearful of such steps which were taken earlier. But I think today, once we have professionalized our banks, decision-making also will be professionalized. Fiscal prudence, it's my responsibility to talk about it. We are maintaining a sustained self-reliance principle in making sure that our fiscal discipline is never threatened. Balancing growth spending with fiscal stability will ensure macroeconomic resilience, keep inflation in check, and also preserve investors' confidence. Leadership and vision is a very important factor. India is the only country which I can see offering a stability even in this kind of a very turmoil-ridden world, and I think that is one of the advantages for India. And finally, mindset to continuously carrying out reforms will be important, whether it pertains to central government reforms, state government reforms, or regulators reforming themselves, or judiciary. So in all these areas, we need to have greater attention given to meet the challenges so that we can, for sure, reach